Welcome everyone to the House of More Politics. Donald Trump had an interview with George Stephanopoulos on ABC this week, Sunday, and he talked about Crimea. I know it's all in the papers how he mixed up Crimea with Ukraine and not really knowing what the hell he was talking about. But this is nothing new, and that's what the interview tonight is about. But first, let's go into what he did with George Stephanopoulos. Let's get it.
Part of the platform calling for provision of lethal weapons to Ukraine to defend themselves. Why is that a good idea?
Look, I have my own ideas. He's not going into Ukraine, okay? Just so you understand. He's not going to go into Ukraine. All right, you can mark it down, you can put it down, you can take it anywhere you want.
Well, he's already there, isn't he?
Okay, well, he's there in a certain way, but I'm not there. You have Obama there. And frankly, that whole part of the world is a mess under Obama, with all the strength that you're talking about and all of the power of NATO and all of this. In the meantime, he's going away. He takes Crimea.
All right, did you catch it? Did you catch that? George Stephanopoulos is talking about the Ukraine, and he had no idea what the hell he was talking about. He was saying, hey, you can mark it down, you can put it on paper, you can write it in stone, you can write it in the sky. Russia, Putin, he's not going into the Ukraine. And George was like, hey, isn't he already there? He was like, yeah, but Obama's there. I'm not there. Which I get there. See, the man has no idea what the hell he's talking about. But let's go into another segment of it and watch how he answers. My wife just turned some more lights on. Watch how he goes in and answers this next question.
He's going away. He takes Crimea. He's sort of,
But you said you might recognize that.
I'm going to take a look at it. But, the people of Crimea, from what I've heard, would rather be with Russia than where they were.
Yeah. He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. He just agreed with something that he just said he'll take a look at. What, he's going to take a look at what he already agreed to? How could you do that? This is a businessman that's worth about $10 billion. And I will remind you that you guys need to pay attention to that $10 billion thing. I don't think he's necessarily worth $10 billion. He don't have $10 billion in liquidity. I think his companies are worth around $10 billion. So if he sold all his companies, he'll have $10 billion. But I think in liquidity, he has far less than that. But let's just keep going. Watch this debate clip about the lines as far as his healthcare plan. He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And Marco Rubio tried to call him out on it. So, you know what? Just watch the video and I'll come back on that.
You may not be aware of this, Donald, because you don't follow this stuff very closely, but here's what happened. When they passed Obamacare, they put a bailout fund in Obamacare. All these lobbyists you keep talking about, they put a bailout fund in the law that would allow public money to be used, taxpayer money, to bail out companies when they lost money. And we led the effort and wiped out that bailout fund. The insurance companies are not in favor of me. They hate that. They're suing now to get that bailout money put back in. Here's what you didn't hear in that answer. And this is important, guys. This is an important thing. What is your plan? I understand the lines around the state, whatever that means. This is not a game where you draw maps around.
And you don't know what it means.
What is your plan?
That's the problem.
What is your plan on health care? You don't have a plan.
The biggest problem he
I'll
doesn't
give
know.
him 1 minute.
The biggest problem he's
plan.
got is he
What's
doesn't
his plan?
know. I watched him melt down 2 weeks ago with Chris Christie. I got to tell you, the biggest problem he's got is he really doesn't know about the lines. The biggest thing we've got, and the reason we have no competition, is because we have lines around the state, and you have essentially
we already mentioned that as part of my plan. I know what that is. But what else is part of your plan? So your only thing is to get rid of the lines around the states. What else is part of your health care plan?
What the lines around the states mean.
That's your only plan.
And it was almost done. No. You know
All
what
right,
that does?
I'll
That
give him
brings
time
in,
to mind. He can tell us his plan.
Excuse me. That
What's your
brings
plan?
in competition. When you get rid of the lines, it brings in competition. So instead of having one insurance company taking care of New York or Texas, you'll have many. They'll compete, and it'll be a beautiful thing.
Right. And so that's the only part of the plan? Just the lines, the interstate competition?
No, the nice part about the plan, you'll have many different plans. You'll have competition. You'll have so many different plans.
But now he's repeating himself.
No.
He takes that one idea, tries to expand on it, but he can't expand on it, so he just repeats himself. Now, here's another clip of him on the Hugh Hewitt show, and he has no idea what he's talking about, so Hugh Hewitt tries to help him out. And watch how he stumbles through this. It's amazing.
Are you familiar with General Soleimani?
Yes. Go ahead. Give me a little. Go ahead. Tell me.
He runs the Quds forces.
Yes. Okay. Right.
Do you expect
and I
his
think the
behavior?
Kurds, by the way, have been horribly mistreated by us.
No, not the Kurds. The Quds forces, the Iranian Revolutionary Guards Quds forces, the bad guys.
Right.
Do you expect his behavior to change as a result?
Kurds. Kurds.
No. Kurds.
I'm
Kurds.
sorry. I thought you said
Yeah.
Kurds, because I think the Kurds have been very poorly treated by us. Go ahead.
Agreed. So Soleimani runs the Quds forces. Do you expect his behavior is going to change as a result of this deal with Iran?
I think that Iran right now is in the driver's seat to do whatever they want to do.
Let me expand it, because I know it's not gotcha. I'm trying not to do that, but
Well,
I wanted
it
to
sounds
see
like
if
gotcha.
you.
You're asking me names that I think it's somewhat ridiculous, but that's okay. Go ahead.
Last question, I want to go back to the beginning, because I really do disagree with you on the gotcha question thing, Donald Trump. At the debate, I may bring up Nasrallah being with Hezbollah and al-Julani being with al-Nusra and al-Masri being with Hamas. Do you think if I ask people to talk about those three things and the differences, that's a gotcha question?
Yes, I do. I totally do. I think
that's interesting. I just disagree with it. I kind of figured that.
I think it's ridiculous. I'm a delegator. I find great people. I find absolutely great people, and I'll find them in our armed services, and I find absolutely great people. And now, in the bigger picture, like the fact that the Kurds are being treated so poorly, and would really is the one group that really would be out there fighting for us, I think, and fighting for themselves, maybe more importantly to them. I understand that. But when you start throwing around names of people and where they live and, give me their address, I think it's ridiculous, and I think it's...
Well, I wouldn't do that. That's crazy.
See that? The man thinks knowing about foreign affairs is a gotcha question. He has no idea. And go back to the beginning of that interview. Hugh Hewitt asked him a question. He was like, yeah? All right. So I want to keep this short. So let me go to one thing that Donald Trump will say if he has no plan. Watch this. And I'm going to end the show. So I'm going to end it with this clip. But hey, subscribe to the channel, like the post, comment on the post. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you want me to talk about. And hey, till next time, peace.
And we will work to dismantle that reach. Believe me, believe me, believe me. He may be the worst thing to ever happen to Israel, believe me. Believe me. When I'm president, believe me, that will end, and it'll end soon. Believe me. Believe me. Oh, believe me.